Oh, everyone's joining. It's very exciting. Right, we'll just give people literally 1 more minute and then we are good to go. Oh, I can see lots of lovely faces. Now then, I wonder why I've got... Hang on. Let's see what's happening here. Right, we've got 20 on at the moment. Hi, Claire. 22. Give people literally 1 minute and then we are good to go. Now, for some reason, I've got a picture of Sarah Dutton as being the main speaker view, but I'm hopeful that this will record properly, so fingers crossed. Hi, Donna. Right, I think we should kick it off because we've got a lot to fit in. It's very exciting. Right, I think we are recording already. So welcome everyone. It is the 25th of November 2019, the final 4 weeks of the decade. How extraordinary is that? Absolutely amazing. So we are so excited. We have got this last week now of November. We've got free registration for new business builders, and we are I think we're week 8 now of this sponsoring bootcamp call. So the sponsoring kind of bootcamp set of calls that we were going to do. Now, Fiona is very kindly doing a live for the prize draw giveaway in the Black Friday Bonanza group at this very moment. So she's not going to welcome the call like she does sometimes. So I'm just going to take it from here. So what I'm hopefully going to do today is give you a little bit of a call in 2 halves. So the first half, I want to just recap about the business model, about the way in which network marketing works and why sponsoring is so absolutely critical to what we do every single day, and we need to make it a key priority in our business. And then the second part of the call then go into some actual top tips, verbiage, things that I use for when I'm sponsoring business builders. So I hope that's going to be useful for everyone. In my traditional fashion, for anyone that's seen a training of mine before, I've done a slideshow. It is a little bit content heavy, but don't feel you need to write anything down or take screenshots because I'm going to post it afterwards, and then you can lift any of the verbiage or anything that you think is useful out of there. So don't worry about scribbling away as we go through, just hopefully enjoy the content. I probably won't try not to look at the chat at this point, and I'll try and catch it up at the end. Now we need to be off this call by 5 to 9 so that Fiona can come off this and go back into it for the 9 o'clock call. So if there's any bits that don't get covered, feel free to private message me afterwards, or when I post the slides in the Do More, you can comment under there if you've got any particular questions or things you want clarification on. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. See if we can make this work. Let's see. Lorraine, I can see your face. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen? Excellent. Right. So here we are. So this is about making sponsoring business builders the priority, okay, in our business. So this is what we're going to make an absolute focus. So first of all, this is going to be about how and why and how we sponsor business builders. So I'm going to touch, as I say, on the network marketing business model, a little bit about the compensation plan. So as we're going through this, I want you to think about why you joined Arbonne, what your drivers were, what income level you thought you wanted to achieve, or what number of people you wanted to help, because the way in which you will get there will determine how many people you need to sponsor into your organization to get to that point. I'm going to just try and re-emphasize that it needs to be our #1 priority, and then talk a little bit about how to make the ask. Now, what I want to leave you with today is some homework. So what I would absolutely love is for us all, me included, to do a sponsoring challenge where we do 5 intentional, good quality business asks every day for the next 5 days. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, I'll put the link to a WhatsApp group. It won't be like super busy in there, but if you want to come in there and you want a bit of accountability, because we all need to practice making these sort of asks and just get comfortable about doing it. So as we go through, you can maybe, if you start thinking of names of people that you think you're going to contact as part of your business ask, so you're getting that habit of making business asks. And remember that we are all only on this call because somebody asked us. On the whole, almost no one approaches somebody else to join Arbonne. It's very few and far between. The vast majority of us are here because somebody shared this opportunity with us, and how happy we are. I am absolutely eternally grateful to Carol for having made the ask with me and then taken me through the exposures to help me to get comfortable and confident enough to join Arbonne. And I just now want to pay that forward and share that with other people. And we're all here in love with Arbonne, so why wouldn't we share that and help other people to join and be part of this incredible company? The other thing that I'm going to do today is make the assumption that every single person that's on this call is wanting to run their business as a business and wanting to presumably make an income. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be on this call in the first place. So I'm going to be a little bit kind of business-like from that point of view, okay? And there might be a little bit of a love punch here and there. So you have to know, if you don't know me personally, you know that everything I say is said with love, and it's to help you all and me, you know, everyone, to really grow in our businesses and achieve what our dreams are. And if actually you're not personally particularly wanting to grow your business big, it's really useful to understand some of these things, so that if you sponsor somebody else who does want to grow bigger and have a bigger income, you know how to coach them as well. Okay, so the first thing is just about the business, the network marketing business model. Now, hopefully we do all understand this, but it is really, really super important that we understand how the business model works in network marketing, because it is different to in direct sales. So direct sales is just where you're employed. Let's say you sell windows and you have to sell as many windows as you can. Like, that's like, we're just in a relationship where you're trading time for money. You put in a certain number of hours, you speak to a certain number of clients, and you get paid commission, and your whole business is focused around those direct sales. With us, network marketing is different. The clue's in the name. It's about creating a network. We're creating a distribution network through which we move products. And the key bit about this is, when we think about, one of the things we always say to people when they join a network marketing company, when you join Arbonne, is that you have to be a product of the product. So we need to exchange all the things that we're currently buying in chemists, in supermarkets, in department stores, and start buying those through our own businesses, so that we get the benefit of those amazing products. We can make authentic recommendations and share them with other people. But you'll see as well that actually it's really important for the way that the whole of your organization works, is that everyone is being a product of the product. And then obviously our job is to teach people, like find other people who want to run their own business, teach them how to run that shop, and then teach them how to teach other people to run their shop. That's how network marketing works. And that's what will create as this organization which generates residual income. And one of the trainings that we went to, I think it was in Arizona, said that if you think about, like, our job is that we are recruiters who recruit recruiters. So it's about creating, as the model, the little picture there at the bottom shows, what we're aiming to create in network marketing is this structure that effectively looks very much like, say, when I used to work for Barclays, it looks like a corporate structure, except that everyone is self-employed and working for themselves. But the model doesn't look much different. You're creating that overall distribution model. And if you're not totally in that zone, it's really important to get to truly understand the way that the network marketing model differs from direct sales, because if you just focus on the direct sales part of your business, you will never get the growth, and you will never probably get anything more than quite a small income. So the napkin presentation, again, if you're on this call and you don't know what the napkin presentation is, then speak to your upline. But the napkin presentation comes from this book called The 45-Second Presentation. I'll post a link. There's a little 15-minute video by Don Faber, who wrote this book, explaining all about his book, and it's all about how network marketing works. And you need to know these numbers like you know them, like you know them. Now, I'm not sure now whether the pictures are on over the top of the numbers, but we'll see. So if you can't quite see the bit at the side, don't worry, I'll post the slides and you can do it. So, but essentially the way that this business works is it's you at the top, and then we find 5 people. So let's say it's 5 for argument's sake, because then the numbers are easy. So it's you, and then there's 5, and then there's 6 of you in total, all working your own businesses. And then you've created a network with 6 people who are all selling product or helping people to buy used products. Then we teach those 5 people to each find 5 people. So then that is 25 more people. So the first 5 you found 25 more people, and then that's 31 in total. So you've created a distribution network of 31 people. But then we teach those next set of people, those next 25 people, to also all find 5 people, and that's another 125 people. And that then means that you've created effectively a distribution network of 156 people, and that is no different to any other business. So if you look at Subway or Specsavers or Marks and Spencer's or Costa, they started out presumably with 1 restaurant or 1 shop, and they wanted to grow their business, so they had to have more outlets in the street, where in more places places. And so they just started opening up more places. And the way they've done that is with the franchise model. So then they've just got lots and lots and lots of franchises. With us, it's just the same. We've got lots and lots and lots of distribution outlets effectively, and we've created that whole model, and we are paid by Arbonne for the number of products that are moved in totality through that whole network. So this, again, it's not about loving on those people, because obviously we're loving those people, and that's helping those 156 people to all have a better life, more choices, more fun, be part of Arbonne, help people. But in pure business terms, we need to create that distribution model. Okay, and if you then take the model to the next level, so at the moment we're showing 3 what we call generations. So, you know, first generation, second generation, third generation. And in your business, you'll have a first, second, third generation of people that you've sponsored, people they've sponsored, people they've sponsored. And then at the 4th generation, if that bottom generation, the 125 people, all find 5 more people each, then that's another 625 people. So in grand total, 781 outlets all distributing Arbonne products in your network. And obviously that's where you get incredible income. And that's where we get what we call the time leverage. So we're being paid a small amount on all of those people, and the whole network marketing model operates on lots of people doing a little amount. So all of those people have mostly got other activities, other responsibilities, but they are all doing their Arbonne business. And in my business, it tends to be, although that we obviously always strive for the 2,500 building block, it tends to average out at about 1,000 QVs or $1,000 of products that are moved per person in my business. So if I have 20 people in the business, about 20,000 QVs. If I have 40 people in the business, about 40,000 QVs. So bear that in mind now when we start to talk about the way the compensation plan works, because you need to be thinking as a business owner, like we're all business people on this call. So what does your business need to look like, and how are you going to create that? And what work do you need to do? Because if you're only doing work where you're talking to people about products, you're not going to create this distribution model. Okay, so effectively we're always recruiting. Like, I mean, sometimes I think we're a bit scared of the word to say we're recruiting. If you were a standalone hairdresser and you wanted to open a salon, you'd put a poster up and then you'd ask all your friends if anyone knew any hairdressers who wanted to come and work in your salon. You'd recruit those people. When I was at Barclays, we recruited people to sit on the till, recruited people to be personal bankers, we recruited people to be project managers. That's a normal part of business, and we need to do that on an ongoing basis. Every company recruits into their company if they want to grow, and those people are highly delighted to have those jobs. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's really super positive, because then they're in the company, they're getting training, they're getting paid. It's great. And we don't want to just stay a one-man band forever. We want to be growing these companies. Okay. So this is the compensation plan. This is taken from the Arbonne is Arbonne for You 2-pager. So this talks about monthly income in this. So again, you need to know these numbers. I can just rattle these numbers off. I don't need to look at the 2-page flyer, because I know what the average monthly income figures are. But actually, it's relevant for each of us as well when we think about how much we need to earn. So again, I don't know whether the images of our pictures are over the top of the last column, but I've just overlaid on that the QVs that are needed to be at each of the different levels. So again, then so look at this and think, what do I need to earn? Where am I trying to achieve to get, like, where do I want to try to get to? So then you need to know, like, what does my team need to look like? How many people do I need to sponsor into the business in order to get to that level? So obviously, district manager, it says their monthly average monthly income £167 a month. Obviously, that's $2,500 or QVs of products going through your network on through your central district effectively, but through that on a monthly basis. Area manager, average monthly income £910. Monthly success line QVs needed 10,000 QVs. So obviously that's where you get the kind of, it tends in my business, so we've always matched up. So 10,000 QVs makes just under £1,000. So if you kind of divide it by 10, that's pretty much what you get paid. Regional vice president, average monthly income £3,445, monthly QVs 40,000. So if you need that sort of income, that's the QVs you need to create. And obviously you're not going to be doing 40,000 QVs on your own. That's just not possible. National vice president, 12,500 average income, monthly success line QVs you need to develop to do that, 160,000 QVs. So look at this and think, how much do you want or need to earn, and how many people's lives do you want to change, and how much time have you got to do sales yourself each month? Now, it is sometimes possible to go to area manager on your own. Fiona did, obviously a couple of the people in our team have, but it's hard work. You're going to be putting in a lot of work to do sales, which most of us don't have time to do if we've got another job as well. And then we're always paid, our income is in proportion to our sales, so approximately 10% of whatever your QVs are. And so, yeah, just think it's kind of a business. So what do we want our business to look like? Okay. Now, this is taken from the Independent Consultant Compensation Summary, which is an absolutely genius document. It's a one-page flyer, but honestly, I prefer it to the Is Our Bond For You flyer. It's really, really good. It's got a lot of the same things on. You can see on here, talks about the ways to earn an income. It's got lots of nice, actual, quite interesting detail about Arbonne, the scale of the company and so on, the amount of commissions that were paid out. And then it also on this, it shows it as an annualized figure rather than a monthly figure. Think as well about the fact these figures that are shown on here are income before cost. So obviously we're all business owners. So like any business, you have income that comes in, then you have, every business has a cost of running the business. You need to deduct off the costs. And then the difference between the income less the cost is your profits, and that's what you get to take home. So again, think about the fact those average annual earnings there are before costs. Then you've got take off costs and then pay tax on it. So then when you're thinking about what you need to earn, think about kind of what that needs to look like. And I've just highlighted at the top that obviously we earn in 4 ways: commissions, overrides, cash bonuses, and the Mercedes-Benz cash program. So if we stay as a one-man band and we're not sponsoring, we'll always only be earning commissions, which for most people is going to be relatively low. Like for me personally, I don't think my commissions have ever been more than about £500 a month, unless you're doing a lot of direct sales, which probably most people aren't doing lots and lots and lots. So therefore, if you want to get the benefit of the overrides and the cash bonuses, then we need to be sponsoring in. So I just wanted to give you, oh, hang on a second. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of talk to you a little bit about that, just to make sure it's clear that that's the motivation for a guest, for why we want to sponsor people. So yes, we want to help other people and give them choices, but from a pure business point of view and a purely selfish kind of, this is what my business needs to look like point of view, we need to think, what does this need to look like, and what's the shape of my team that I need to have? Okay, so when I joined, I looked at Danny's team map of what a region looked like and thought that's what I need to create. So this isn't 100% up to date, but broadly speaking, this is what my region looks like, our region looks like. So I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 or 9 main legs where I've sponsored someone and then they've started sponsoring other people to either a greater or lesser degree. So mine looks like approximately 40 active consultants, which are then delivering kind of between 40 to 60 QVs on a monthly basis. So if you want to be at that sort of level and have that sort of level of earnings, you need to sponsor this many people. Now, sometimes you have to sponsor a lot of people to find the ones who want to run with the business, and you can't tell before you sponsor them who they're going to be. So I've actually sponsored with an independent consultant account probably about 200 people over 3 years. A few have come and gone here. If you never launch, you know, we all have the same as everybody else. Maybe 1 in 10 of the people who you bring on board will actually ultimately really want to grow their business. So you've got to sponsor a lot of people to find a small number who will want to grow and become those strong legs in your business. So obviously, as we know, it all starts with becoming a district manager. Now you can obviously be a district manager and you can be a bonusing district entirely on your own, but it is so much easier to be doing it with somebody else. So straight away, as soon as we humanly possibly can, after we start this business, we need to start sponsoring. We need to be in the habit of sponsoring. We need to be practicing what that feels like, having those conversations just as easily as we have a conversation about the product, because then we will end up making product sales by virtue of the conversations that we have about the business. But in my mind, I'm always leading with the business. I'm always thinking about the business first. So here's a couple of examples of what your district manager team could look like. So it might be you plus a couple of independent consultants who perhaps haven't reached district yet, or you plus a couple of people who are at district manager qualification, and so on. So obviously that's where we want to be, and we want to be there as soon as is humanly possible. So speaking to enough people about the business that we find the ones who actually want to grow a business. Obviously not everyone wants to grow a business, so we have to ask a lot of people, just in the same way that when I was at Barclays, not everyone wants to join Barclays as a personal banker, so we have to advertise to a lot of people. Not everyone wants to be working in a hairdresser, so the hairdresser has to put up an advert and ask a lot of people to find people who want to be hairdressers in that particular salon. And the same will apply to us. We have to, you know, promote the opportunity to a lot of people to find the ones for whom it's right for them just now. Okay, then we go to area. So obviously following the building block of everyone doing 2,500, which is super important. This is the ideal scenario. You actually only need you plus 3 people if all 3 of you are doing building block. For me, when I went to area, I didn't have any districts because I went quite quickly and no one had promoted to district. So I was actually 10 wide, 12 wide, I think. So by the end of the month that I completed area, I'd sponsored in 12 business builders. And so that was in my first 6 months. So basically, I just brought in 2 to 4 people every single month for the first 5 to 6 months of my business. And then that, by definition, you can't not be an area if they're all direct to you. So you want to be bringing in a lot of business builders yourself. So here's another example of a potential team structure for an area. And so this one here would have you one promoted out district, a few people in district manager qual, a few other independent consultants who are doing a bit less, and you've gone to the second generation of sponsoring. So you've already started to then help your team start sponsoring, which is super important and really powerful, because getting that duplication is where you get the magic in Arbonne or in any network marketing company. Then you want to kind of just continue to grow. So this looks like an area which is almost bonusing. So again, if you think to yourself, well, a bonusing area is doing, let's say they're doing 20,000 QVs. Obviously you get paid slightly differently depending on where those QVs come from, which we won't go into that just now. But let's say you want to earn, I don't know, £1,500 a month. You want to be kind of earning, like heading towards being a bonusing area, and to have most of those people directly sponsored by you, because you always get paid the most on the people you directly sponsor, because obviously they're the ones you're doing the work, they're the ones you're helping. You get paid the least if you've, say, got a 3rd generation person, because you're not really doing things so much to help those people. So you always want to be as wide as you possibly can in Arbonne, so as many people directly sponsored to you. So hopefully after that we understand that we need to sponsor business builders if we want to grow an income, and we need to sponsor business builders if we want to change more people's lives, because people who, it's so much fun bringing people into the business when they're business builders, because they get the whole Arbonne experience. They get to do the personal development, they get to have choices in their life, they get to have more income, more flexibility, and they get to use the products usually more, I think, than a standard regular client would do, because we tend to embrace the whole product range. So you're giving someone everything by having them in the business. It's so much more fun. It's so amazing. Okay, so it can, though, for some people take a while to understand how to feel comfortable on sort of how to make the ask. So for starters, if you haven't read GoPro in the last couple of months or something, then you want to be reading GoPro on a regular basis, or possibly or reading the Get Over Your Damn Self. As I said, you want to be wide with lots of personal sponsoring, but you need to be coachable and you need to be willing to try different ways to make the ask. And then, as I said before, you have to make the ask. You're just advertising the position. It's not weird, it's not odd, it's not demeaning to the other person to ask. You're just telling them that you've got this opening in your business, that you want to grow your business, and you're looking for amazing, motivated, incredible people who are good with people and fun, that you want to work with. But mostly people aren't going to come up to you, or they won't feel confident. Even if they're looking at you thinking, oh, that looks great, they won't necessarily think that they could do it. So we've got to open people's eyes to the fact that the opportunity exists. So yeah, so we have to be not be frightened, and we have to remember that Arbonne is an incredible gift that we've got, that someone else gave us, and now our job is to pay that forward. So we're offering to help someone. Now sometimes those people don't always understand that at the beginning. We need to try and sort of help them to understand that, but that is genuinely our motivation for sponsoring people. I never go to sponsor someone thinking this will really help me out. I always think, how is this going to help this person? And you're just asking them to take a look. We're not asking them or telling them that they should join Arbonne. We're just saying, this opportunity exists, will you take a look at it and see if it's something that you might be interested in? We're not telling them that they should do it. We're not there to convince them. We know it's not a fit for everyone, but for the right people, it totally changes people's lives, and we can't tell who those people are until we've started that conversation. So yeah, as I said earlier, it's just like any other business. You've just got to advertise to a lot of people to find the ones who want it. And a lot of companies will operate on word of mouth, because we know that's always the best way to find the right candidate for the job. So you can proactively advertise. I guess effectively your job, you can, I know, put adverts out on work from home sites and things like that. And occasionally that might pan out, that might work well. But mostly kind of it's word of mouth. So either you asking a person if they'd be interested, or you asking a person if they could refer you to anybody else who might be interested. Okay, and when I'm speaking to people, I'm always trying to almost guess what their why would be, so that then I can present the Arbonne opportunity in a way that fits and is relevant for that person. So think about the reasons why people run a side business. Think to yourself, like, what would be their why? And then we want to help them to see the vision of how it could fit and how it could meet their needs. So obviously people have reasons, like they might want additional income to fulfill an income gap. So let's say they're short of £500 a month. They might want more flexibility. They might want to make a life-changing income. They might want to be making a difference, be in it for the personal development. They might want to reduce their risk in their existing job, whatever. They might just be all about the friendships and the community, or they might be there because they want to spread the word and help people use toxin-free vegan products. So those are all different reasons. And I suppose when I'm speaking to people, I'm thinking, who is this person? I'm trying to paint a picture in my head. Are they a mum with young children? Are they a person who's had to leave their job for some other reason? Are they a person who wants more flexibility? What are they telling me? And then I'll try to position Arbonne. So I don't always tell the Arbonne story in exactly the same way. I'll tell it in a way that focuses on the things that I think. So for example, I met a lovely girl, Lauren, who's hopefully on the call. So Lauren is just turned 19. And I know wants to go traveling. She hasn't got any commitments at the moment, but she wants an income and she wants to kind of change the world and help other people. So the way I speak to her would be different to the way I might speak to, I don't know, like a 45-year-old mum of 3 like me, because we might have different goals and different things. And so I'm trying to, I guess, read that person and think which are the things to emphasize to help them to get excited about what we do. Then we have to be confident in the industry and in Arbonne for someone else to feel confident in us. And for that to, people want to feel that, they feel it radiating from you. So everyone more or less who has ever joined my team has said, I joined Caroline because you made it sound like you knew what was going on, that you were going places, that you would help me. So you need to feel confident. You need to read personal development books. You need to read the Eye on Arbonne stories, listen to audios, learn about the industry, watch the My Story videos, go to DAs or watch DAs, learn the compensation plan, understand the business model, speak to your upline, go to events. You're not obviously going to do that in the first couple of weeks of your business, but you need to grow that so you become increasingly more and more confident. Like now, no one can touch me on any discussion about whether network marketing is a brilliant business model, because I am all over that. I'm like, it's absolutely the best model imaginable. It's the best of corporate combined with the best of a franchise, but the worst of neither. So then people feel confident in me because I can answer things confidently. And so people are going to be joining you. They're not really joining Arbonne, they're joining your team. So that's why we always say it's best to have your own Discover Arbonne video, because people want to see you. They're not joining Sarah Law or Ian Pritchard or any other person's business. They're joining your business, and they need to hear your excitement. They need to know, like, and trust you. They have to believe you know where you're going. They want to be like with you in your gang. They want you to make them feel special, which is why we always compliment people. We always make it clear that we've thought about the actual individual that we're talking to and that we want to make them feel special, and the reasons why we've picked them to speak to them about this business. They need to be able to see as well what's in it for them. So from quite early on in the conversation, you need to always compliment them and then always try and relate back to why you think it will be relevant for them to hear about this opportunity. And then they need to be able to trust you that you could help them to be successful. So even if you don't feel super confident, you need to make it sound like you're confident and that you're going places and that you're going to be creating an income and building a team, even if you don't have any team. So when Carol sponsored me, she made the ask, she wrote to me, she just said, following our conversation, I just wondered if you would be prepared to look at the business opportunity. And then even though she'd never sponsored anybody else until that point, she told me she was going to the top of the company, was going to be an executive national vice president. And I totally believed her. And here we are. So we're totally going into that future vision that she set out, even when she didn't have another single consultant in her team. And they need to know that you're going to have the confidence to be able to hold their hand and show them the way. And even if you're messaging your upline in the background going, oh my God, like, what do I do? What do I do? You need to make them feel confident that you have a way that you're going to be able to help them to be successful and a way to overcome their worries. So again, this is where, whether it's fake it till you make it or whatever, but you need to feel comfortable and confident about how to do this and help your upline to coach you so that you can get to this point and use your upline. That's the amazing thing about this business, that we have these incredible uplines. So if you look in GoPro, it tells you a little bit more about the different ways that we can make an ask. So there's a direct ask where we're specifically asking that person, like Carol did to me, would I look at the business because it could be a fit for me and it could really help me with my no money that I had at the time. Okay, or we might make an indirect ask where we're perhaps asking for a referral. So could they look at it, but we're not really making it clear that it's necessarily that person that we're really interested in bringing into our business, or a super direct ask. Now, for my personal feeling is I always think the direct ask works best, because you're complimenting the person, you're making them feel special, you're making them feel like they're the one that you want to have in your business, that you've chosen them as a person that you want to speak to because of X, Y, and Z reason. Either way, though, it's always going to be ratios, okay? So you have to have enough oomph about you to not bail out when 10 people say no, they don't want to join your business. That's totally normal. Like, it would be bizarre if you asked 10 people. You'd be incredible if you asked 10 people and you were able to show the first 10 people you asked why they want to run an Arbonne business, because they might not want to run an Arbonne business. They might be perfectly happy in their existing job, or they might not have enough money and you think they've got a why, but they just don't have the vision to want to do the work. So that's totally fine. Like, we have to promote the opportunity to lots of people, and for quite a lot of people we're just sowing those seeds, and it might take a while for that to come off, and not everyone kind of initially will know that they want to run an Arbonne business, because how many of us grow up dreaming of becoming an Arbonne consultant, and not everyone knows that they can do it yet. So mostly today I'm just going to focus on the direct ask, and we're going to go into some verbiage and things now. But my recommendation to you, and I've heard this a million times since I've joined Arbonne, is that the more that you can almost always lead with the business, the quicker your business will grow. You can lead with the product, i.e., you know, talk to someone about the skincare, get them excited about skincare. They start using the skincare, and 3 or 4 months later, you know, then perhaps you could have a conversation with them about the business. But it's a very slow growth way of doing things. And also, in my mind, there are 2 different kinds of people that have 2 different sets of needs. So someone with a product need might well not have a business need. They might not need to do the business or want to do the business or be any good at it, but they 100% need the products. Whereas someone who, like me, when Carol spoke to me, I didn't think I even had a product need. Now, as it was, I've really enjoyed then switching to the Arbonne products. But if she had have started with me with the product, I would have been like, no way, 100% no, because I'm not really interested in the product. So the quicker you can lead with the business, always, because it's also quite difficult. If you lead with the product and someone doesn't like the product, it's very hard to then go backwards to the business, because they've already decided they don't like the company because they don't like the product. Whereas if you start with the business, so we're going to reach out to people, speak to them about the business, whether they're warm market or cold market, speak to people about the business initially. Then if they don't want to do the business, then ask them if they'll host, because we're always wanting to create opportunities to meet new people. So you're going to speak to them about the business. If they don't want to do the business, speak to them about hosting, getting a few people together so that you meet their network. And then you might find someone in their network who wants to do the business, and that'll grow obviously your organization, and that'll be beneficial for that person. And then if they won't host, then we'll talk to them about the products. Sometimes then we can funnel back up on occasions, but it's very hard to funnel back up if you start at the bottom and it goes wrong. So, and as we know, like, our Arbonne products are absolutely incredible, but the very best product that we have is the business. And I want you to always keep that in your mind. The best product I've got to offer someone is the business, because it gives them all these incredible benefits. And they say that it's very hard for people to say no 3 times. So if you ask someone about the business and then they don't want to talk to you about the business, then you can ask them about hosting. If they don't want to host something, so a little group presentation or whatever, then you can say, that's totally fine, I completely understand, would you do a trial of the products? By that point, people are kind of like, okay, yeah, why not? Like, what's not to like? I'm doing a free trial of the products. There are very, very few people who will not try the product. And then once they've tried the products, potentially then you can go back up from there. Okay, so let's say then someone's done a product trial, so they said no to the business, they said no to hosting, they trialed the products. Then, for example, you can use things like, you could say, well, which product did you like the best? They say, I love the serum. You say, well, what about if I could give you that serum free as a thank you for gathering a few friends together? Do you think you could do that? And they might say yes, hopefully. And then if they then have a presentation, hopefully their other friends love the products, want to place some orders. And then you can just really easily then say, well, what if I told you that I could make this presentation yours? So if I signed you up as a consultant, we could put all those orders under you. I think you'd be really good at this. Would you be interested in that? And by that point, they've heard the whole Arbonne story. They've had a brilliant evening. Like, they've loved it. They've seen that their friends love the products and want to make, want to make purchases. So, that's something that potentially is a relatively easy, one of the ways that we can help to reintroduce the business. Or you can say, just off the back of a product trial, I know you love the products that you tried. Just let me now talk to you again about the business side. satisfied now you've seen how good they are. And that's what Carol did to me. I was no to the business initially. She then said, I totally understand. And then she said, but would you like to try some products? She sent me an RE9 sample set, and I signed up off the back of that one RE9 sample set, because she then was able to go back to sending me a DA, even though I had initially said no. So that's always, an option as well. Okay, so if you do a group presentation, I was taught my very first ever GTC, had a training for new consultants, and it has stuck with me in my mind ever since, that the number one purpose of doing a group presentation is to find new business builders. The number two purpose of a group presentation is to book more group presentations, so that you meet people in the networks of those people who were at the first presentation, so that you can then meet new business builders. And then the third element of a presentation is, or party, whatever you want to call it, is to then make sales. So you want to be making sure that in some way we're sharing the opportunity at every presentation. Now we might do that on kind of generically, just a little bit in the course of the party, and then afterwards, as you're going around to each individual person, you're going to be asking people you think would be good at Arbonne, that you'd like to work with. So we don't necessarily share the business opportunity with absolutely everybody. Like the same as when I'm out and about in the shop, if I see someone that I don't think would be good, I wouldn't share it with them. I only share it with people I get like a good vibe from. Then you always want to go back to this idea of complimenting the person. So start with a compliment. Your background or your personality mean I think you would be amazing at this business. Or you could say something like, have you ever thought of doing this sort of thing? If not, like, why not? You'd be great at this. So you're making the person feel positive, perhaps prompting a thought in then. And then you can just use normal objection handling techniques. If they have a hesitation or an objection, say, yeah, don't worry, I thought the same thing. And then you want to use this construction of would you? If I sent you some information, then would you have a look at it? Very few people say, no, I won't even take a look, particularly if you've built a rapport with them in a relationship. Okay, you could then, if you isn't an opportunity to do it on the night of the party, you might want to make the ask afterwards. So you might want to message them later and say, oh, I was thinking about you after last night's presentation. What a great attitude and personality you have. You would do really well in Arbonne. I totally never thought I would do something like this, but I'm so glad that I did. If I sent you some information, would you take a look and see if it could be a fit for you? We're just asking people to take a look. It's not a difficult thing to do. Now, I've just put in here, there's a really great book called Make Friends and Influence People, which is about kind of how to make friends and how to obviously influence people. But I've put in here some of the kind of conversation starters that I use. So let's say a couple of nights ago, I met a new mum was standing there in the Beavers thing when I went to go and pick up, in the scout hut when I went to go and pick up my son. I could have just ignored her, but actually I walked over and I thought, there's a new person, I don't know. So I just walk up and go, hi, my name's Caroline. I was like, oh, which is your son? And this is my son. And then I'm just chatting, making friends just while there's just waiting for the thing to finish. Where do you live? What do you do? Do you work? Have you got other children? And I'm trying to always then piece together a picture of who is that person, what kind of. So then she says, well, I'm a teacher, but I don't work anymore since I've had my children because it's really hard to fit in and it's a really difficult job these days. So then in my mind, I'm immediately thinking the business is an amazing opportunity for this person. She may or may not have a product need, but the business need is what will really truly help her, because she could be like me, able to work flexibly around her children. And then I get to the end of the thing and I say, oh, it'll be so much fun to meet up. You on social media? We could meet up. And in fact, she's not on social media, but then I've got her phone number and we're going to go for coffee. So it's not necessarily that I've introduced even Arbonne. Well, so I told him my Arbonne story. I'll tell you that in a minute. So then she's already got an idea of what I do, and then we can then move to going for a coffee or something like that, and then we'll see kind of where that goes. Another thing that you can use if you're, say, at a barbecue or something like that, you're just chatting, randomly making conversation with people. And this was something that I was taught by the EMVP, who was it, Chris Isles, and he said to use this, what would you do if you won the lottery question? So you can literally just say to someone, oh, here's a funny thing someone asked me recently, and I've just been pondering on for the last few days. And they asked me, like, what would I do if I won the lottery? So if I had all the time and money in the world, like, where would I live? Where would I go on holiday? Who would I help out? Would I support charities? And then you can just chat with the other person, and then they'll tell you what they would do. And that gives you, again, it gives you a picture of their vision, of their dreams, of their why, so that then you can make a connection. Say, it's been so nice meeting you, we should connect and stay friends. Are you on Facebook or Instagram or whatever? And then you can make a friendship with that person. Similarly, I meet people everywhere, in the toilets, in the bar, in the queue, at shops, and I'll say something like, oh, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I absolutely love your makeup, or, oh, has it been a long day, if I'm talking to a person in the shop, or oh, is it nearly home time? Or if there's a child squabbling or something, I'd be like, oh, I totally know what that's like. I've got 3 children, mine always hate waiting in queues. Or hey, can I help you with that if someone's struggling? Or oh, I love your coat, where's that from? Or standing at the bus stop, oh yikes, I think it's about to rain, have you got far to go? Or hey, that looks interesting, I've always wanted to read that book. Or do you work here all the time? So those are the kind of conversation openers I use all the time with people, just to start a conversation. So you've done a little bit of mini relationship building. You've used one of those conversation openers. So let's say this is an example of like a conversation I had in Morrison's the other day. So I'm like, just packing my shopping. Do you work here all the time? Person says, no, I'm just part-time. I'm a student at Derby University the rest of the time. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. What are you studying? And he goes, oh, I'm doing drama. And I go, oh, that's exciting. And then I say, I know this is a bit random, but I work with a lot of actors who run their own businesses to support themselves between jobs, because we all know that jobs are, you know, come and go with when you're acting. And I go, I know this is a bit random, but are you on Facebook? And I could send you some information. You never know, it could be really good for you. And people are, it's amazing, just anyone will add you on Facebook or Instagram, it turns out these days. And then you can obviously then have a conversation with them separately. Or I built a relationship with a girl on the Cross Channel ferry in the entertainments area at 10 o'clock at night with lots of overtired children. I'm helping her out with this cup building activity she was doing with the children. I see on the thing, I'm chatting to her anyway. I've built a little mini rapport with her. And I say, oh, I saw on that bio that you studied drama. And she says, oh yeah, I loved it, but you know, I'm just couldn't get a job. And I go, so have you got a life plan kind of from here? And she says, oh yeah, I need to win the lottery so I can get off this ship and get a proper acting job. And then I say, I know this is a bit random, but I work with a lot of actors, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it goes from there. Or I met a lady at the zoo. I think I maybe said this on an earlier call this year, and she was doing a talk at the Giraffe. I'm like, hey, that was fab, how did you get into this? And she says, I want to be a vet, but I didn't get the grades. I love working with Giraffe, but everyone wants to do it, so it doesn't pay very well. And so obviously each time these people are effectively giving me their why. So once they've given you their why, you can work with that why, and then you can direct what you tell them and show them the what's in it for me, so that we make them feel special. We explain to them why it might be something that'd be worth them having a look at, and then we just give them the opportunity to take a look. We're not asking them to join. So I'm not going to read all this out, but you need to have your 60-second story. You might have slight variations depending on the person that you speak to and what they've already told you about what their why might be, but mine might be, oh, I'll just quickly do it. So, you know, I used to work in corporate for a bank, but, you know, it was really long hours and super inflexible, and so then I left there when I had my children. I got a franchise teaching baby classes, which I loved because I got to change people's life, but it was actually super inflexible, and I kept missing assemblies and school trips and things, and I didn't earn very much. So then I had a random conversation with a friend a few years ago. She mentioned she set up a new business alongside her other business and her children, and was I interested? I said no initially, as I was too busy and I thought I didn't use products. But when I looked at it, I realized it was an amazing company with incredible ethics, and I just jumped in and gave it a try. Now I get to run my own business from home, anywhere in the world, from my phone, on fully flexible hours. So I get to go to every school trip and assembly and help hundreds of people live a healthier life. And I coach other people who want to get more out of life to successfully set up their own online business. I'm so lucky. It's my dream job, which I never thought existed. So I don't know if you can see in there, when I'm speaking to the teacher who's had to give up her job in the Beavers Scout Hut, I've already anticipated what her why might be. So I've weaved into my 60-second story all the things that I think she might or might not be interested in. So all the things that are maybe worries of hers, that she thinks she couldn't do it, that, you know, it's a new thing. I'm kind of understanding her issues of not being able to work alongside her children and showing her how this has worked for me. So that helps people to be more interested in what we do. Then just some more verbiage about making the ask. So things that you could say would be things like, come to think of it, you know, after talking to you, I think you could be really good at this, like you'd be amazing. And then you'll say something like, so with my lady at the Scout, she's obviously ex-teacher, so I'll be like, I work with lots of teachers who are brilliant at this because so much of what we do is education. Or come to think of it, I work with lots of people who are GPs or in the medical profession because they love that they get to like really help people with the core underlying problem with their health. So you're trying to make it relevant to that individual person. I know this is really random, but if I sent you some information, then would you take a look at it, see if it could work for you as well as it has for me? It's just relaxed. It's not a hard thing to say. And then you might say something like, I'm just going to come out and say this. I know you might think I'm a little bit bonkers, but honestly, I really think you'd be great at what I do. Just suspend disbelief temporarily, haha. But if I sent you some information, then would you have a look? Or if I bought you a coffee, would you let me talk to you about it? Most people are kind of smiley about it, or at least they come back with some kind of conversation. Or you could use like, I've been wanting to say this for a while, blah, blah, blah. And then always be listening, so to think about how you're going to help that person. So then if they've given you that clue as to what their why is, then you're going to say, well, when you mentioned such and such, I just thought it was possible that I might be able to help you. I could drop you some information. So this evening I prospected a girl who came to the door wanting to collect money for the St John's Ambulance. So she's a paid fundraiser for the St John's Ambulance. So while we're doing the thing, I'm signing up to give this money to the charity, I was just chatting with her. She's super lovely, really sweet young girl. I said, do you do this all the time? She says, no, I'm just doing it to save up so I can go traveling. I've just come back from traveling, been away for 2 years in New Zealand, and I'm like chatting with her about her traveling trip. I'm showing her my pictures on the wall from my traveling trip. So I'm building rapport and kind of a common ground between us. And then just as we're about to finish, I said, I know this is really random, but you know, I work with lots of people who, you know, young, like fun people like you that are really good with people, that want to be able to run a business that allows them to do the things that they want to do. And because it's fully online, you can run it from anywhere in the world. Then I'll bring in a story. So for example, like Regional Vice President Lucy West just spent a year traveling all around the world running a business from Perth. So I'll bring that story in. And that's where listening to the DAs and reading the Eye on Our Bonds is so important, because we are storytellers. And Eric Worre, if you ever listen to any of his training, he says successful network marketing people are storytellers. We gather stories and then we tell them back to other people to make it relevant and show other people how they could do this business. There are so many different people from all these different backgrounds. And if you've got a Lucy West traveling story, you've got a Claire Westmoreland GP story, you've got a Emma Bundy worked in corporate story, and you can drag out whichever one of those you need at that point in time to help that person to see how this could work for them, then that's super important. Okay, if you've got preferred clients, you're going to go back to those preferred clients. They're already using the products, and you say, I know you love the Arbonne products. I've been thinking about you and like your personality or something, and wanting to ask you about this for a while. Would you take a look at the business side of how Arbonne works? I think you could do so well at this business. If I sent you some information, would you? So just using that same sentence construction. So remember, we're always wanting to compliment people. We're always wanting to build a relationship, whether you're doing it face-to-face or online is neither here nor there. If you're doing it online, it's just a different media. It's just meeting new people, but through a different way of working. But we still need to build relationships with people, make them feel special, make them feel that we've chosen them for a reason. We're not just banging out some rubbish copy and paste email to people. So we need to have liked and commented on a few of their posts. We need to have looked at their profile, talk about something to do with their profile, what it is you love about them when you reach out to that person, just the same as if you met someone face to face. And then build those relationships and be authentic and be complimenting people. And again, come back to making sure they can see, even in those early messages, like what's in it for them. So, you know, whatever the things are that you think you want to highlight that could be relevant for them, and then take them through the different exposures. So obviously we're never wanting to ask someone to join our business straight at the beginning. We want to ask them to take a look, and then we might need to take them through 4 or 5 exposures. And the quicker you take them through those exposures, the better, because each time there's a gap between the exposure, the energy level drops and you've got to pick it all back up again. So you want to go boom, 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 and all we're ever doing is taking them to the next exposure. So the first conversation is like, say, would they either have a coffee or watch a DA, for example, and then you're going to either send the video or book a short one-to-one, or invite them to watch a business presentation online, or invite them into the Hello Future to watch a business presentation online. And ideally you always want to agree when you're going to follow up. So if I sent you a video today, it's Monday or something, do you think, could you have watched it by Friday? Or when do you think you could have watched it by? They'll come back and say, well, I'm a bit busy for the next few days, but maybe I could have watched it on Saturday. And you say, brilliant, I'll follow up with you on Sunday. So then they've set the pace, they've made an arrangement that you're going to follow up. They know that you're going to follow up. So then hopefully that will reduce the number of people who disappear and go into witness protection. So then you obviously need to follow up, and then you're moving them to the next exposure. So that might be then sending them samples. It might be then bringing them to a DA. So again, you're not asking them to commit to the business, you're just asking them to go through the exposures. You're going to be complimenting them, keeping them excited about why it's a good thing, reminding them about why this is potentially good for them, and helping them to create the kind of their why. So asking them those questions about, well, what would you do if time and money was no object, and helping them to be the one that see the need that they've got. So if you think about, for example, how a salesperson might have helped my family to choose our Mercedes, when I walked into the showroom, they didn't just show me like the AMG £75,000 car, they sat down at the table and they asked me discovery questions. They asked me questions about me, about my family. How many children have I got? How much was I thinking of spending? What kind of journeys might we do? Where were we thinking of going with the car? Who'd mostly be driving it? And then that salesman is painting that picture in his head of where should we start with these cars? Which sort of price bracket should we look at? How many seats do I need to have? So we had a beautiful cabriolet, 4-seater Mercedes in there, but I've got 3 children, so it'd be totally pointless him showing me something that's not relevant. And so that's the same whether it's with the business or with the products. We need to be looking for the people and asking them questions that you're telling them something that's relevant for them. If they don't like come back to you at the beginning, you're just going to keep following up. So I have got some people where I've followed up like literally about 5 or 6 times with no response in between, no response. But I'm trying to think of a different reason to go back to that person, and just remembering that life is busy for everyone. And so we're always all a bit hectic, and these things happen. You forget messages and stuff like that. Okay, we've got 5 minutes. So timing is everything. Just keep sowing the seeds. Some people take longer than others to germinate. Some of the very best people in my business I've waited the longest for. I saw a lady today for a one-to-one who was my very first ever party 3 years ago, but she had one young child at the time. I knew she needed to have a second baby before she'd be ready, and now she's almost ready, but now she needs to wait until she can take redundancy from her existing job in about a year, and her existing job is potentially a conflict with her current job, and she's just moved house and she's just had her second baby. So I probably know that I need to wait another 6 to 8 months for her to come on board, but I'm just keeping her more and more kind of excited about what we do. People's circumstances change all the time, so if you've spoken to them a year ago or you've spoken to 2 years ago, their circumstances could be completely different. So remember, it's just a numbers game. You have to get okay with hearing no's. That's just normal. The girl who was asking for people to sign up to support St John's Ambulance, she'd probably knocked on 10, 20 doors before she got the first one that says yes. That's okay. That's just the job. Not everyone wants to run an Arbonne business just now, but they might know someone else who would be perfect. And they say that when you've heard enough no's, you'll have an incredible business. So Ashley Strong kept a record 3,000 no's she heard before she promoted to National Vice President, but the ones that were yeses were enough to give her an amazing business and tremendous fun. And then you need to keep sponsoring. Never stop sponsoring, because not everyone you sponsor will launch. Not everyone who launches will carry on. Not everyone who carries on initially will be with you long term. And it's an ongoing process, just like in any other business. So you have to always be sponsoring in quicker than the rate of attrition from your team. If you were running a hairdressers, people would leave, they'd get pregnant, you know, that's just how life is. People go out the door. It's not a reflection on you as a leader. It's just how it is life. You probably need to sponsor 100 to 200 people maybe to get to a vice president, and the quicker you can sponsor them the better, because then you're keeping up with the attrition quicker, and then it's all in the duplication, teaching those people in your team to then sponsor other people. So keep going, never stop sponsoring. Don't judge on someone else's behalf about whether they're going to be interested or not. There are people from all walks of life who looked perfectly hunky-dory, who looked like they didn't need an Arbonne business, who were crying out for this opportunity. So we are selfish to judge for somebody else. So we're just going to tell everyone, because either they might like it or they might know someone else who'd like it. No one's going to be offended, like they might, you know, if you say, I think you'd be incredible at what I do and I'd love to work with you, you're in my top 5 people to work with if I had all my choices in the world, they're going to have a little warm feeling and go, oh, you are lovely. So even if they say no, you know, they're not going to be like hating you because you asked them. And then you just need to practice, okay? It's just a case of getting comfortable with the words that come out of your mouth, and you need to try to sponsor up. So sponsoring good people, like who are already successful, who've got a drive, who've got a work ethic, who are going to be self-motivated. We all know the kinds of people who are the most fun, successful people to work with in Arbonne. So try and look for those people, and then you've got to be okay with being out of your comfort zone some of the time. So the people on your chicken list that you're scared to ask are going to be the ones who are potentially going to be the best in your business. So yeah, so just sort of think who other people you'd want in your business. And then you have to have it in your heart that we're not asking them to look for our benefit. We're not asking them for a favor. We're not telling them they have to do this business. We're telling them that we care about them and we've got this incredible gift to give them that we can change their life with. So yeah, just make sure it's in your heart, and then it always feels good. I'm not going to go through all this verbiage now, but I'll put it on the do more. But there's lots of different things. So, you know, it's just like, oh, I think you're pretty fantastic. You could do what I do. I'm sure you're really busy. You might roll your eyes at me, but I've been trying to find the courage to ask you for ages. You're going to use that same sentence construction, if I, would you. So you've complimented them, you told them a little bit about what's in it for them, and then you've asked them to take a look. You know, I know this is going to come totally out of the blue, a bit random, been wanting to get in contact with you. I think you'd be really great. Often I will use things that I see on social media as a prompt. So I'll be like, oh, I love the pictures of so-and-so's birthday party. They were so super cute. I know it's going to seem really random, but you keep popping into my head to do with Arbonne. Or I can say, oh, my business is booming. We're only adding in like the best of the best, and you're that, like you're one of my top 5 people. That's what Carol, one of the things she wrote to me to tell me was that she'd been asked by Kim Mellor, I think, at a DM training day to contact the 5 people that she absolutely would most love to work with. And so she wrote to me with that, and I was a bit like, oh, Carol, you are lovely. I've sort of got a little bit of a warm feeling about it, even though I'm still not sure I want to do the business. But yeah, that kind of prompted me to go, oh, go on then, like let's have a look. They reckon that whoopsie, hang on a minute. Sheila Green, who's oh god, I can't go backwards now, who's an executive national vice president, she had 9 reach outs from the person who she met at a party with no reply, and on the 9th one she agreed to take a look at the business, and it completely transformed her life, which is incredible. Right, we're going to do 1 minute. So yeah, there's some more verbiage here. You keep popping up on my news feed. I know that's one that Dana uses. I'm dying to catch up, but I'm calling with a purpose. That's quite important, because sometimes people feel funny if you kind of do a bit of schmoozing and then you go, anyway, if only if you could join my business. So actually, if you just are open with it at the start, it's kind of just nicer in some ways. There's some other skincare here that you can, another verbiage here that you can look at when you look at the slides. Just some ways of kind of overcoming objections. So I'm just always really cheery. I'm building the relationship. I'm going, oh, don't worry, it's just suspend disbelief anyway. Have a little look, you know, if they've come back to tell me that they think they can't do it. You want to use normal objection handling things. Yeah, I felt the same. I was really super busy. I said no because of such and such or whatever. But when I looked at it, I found out it was something that I could fit in, or something like that. There's some verbiage on here again you can look at later about how to rebuild a relationship. So I do quite a lot of work rebuilding relationships with people I perhaps knew 10, 20 years ago. And then it is reasonable then, I think, to have a bit of chit chat with the person to find out what's going on in their life. You ask them about their life, you tell them about yours. That's perfectly natural. And then either a business need or a product need will usually kind of show itself. Yeah, so there's some indirect verbiage that again you can look at there, things like the 30 and 30 challenge, or asking to practice on them. I know it's not for you, but you know, which are great in certain ways, but I think if you can be brave enough to do the direct, those are better. Sometimes indirect is good if you think that person genuinely doesn't want to do the business. You can ask specifically for referrals. So perhaps you know someone who's really old and genuinely you don't think wants to do the business. So that's potentially an option. And they might then look at the business for themselves, even if you're asking them for a referral. Be interested in the other person, not interesting, and it's a bit like a dating game. So if ever you're not quite sure if you're doing the right thing, think about, if I was like trying to schmooze someone in a dating game here, am I coming on too strong? But I'm not playing too hard to get either. It's kind of getting the balance. And then you want to move them through those exposures and close. Closing is really important. You can use Jerry's closing questions and think of it a bit like if you are going on a dating game, eventually you have to get to the scary bit where you have to go like, shall we move in together, or will you marry me? And there's always that slight risk that they might say no, but there's hopefully the benefit that it'll be amazing and they'll say yes. So let's go. So my challenge to you is, if anyone wants to do it, I'm going to set up a WhatsApp group, and I want you to do, starting tomorrow, 5 proper direct intentional business asks for the next 5 days. We've got free sign up. It's an incredible opportunity. I'll post some verbiage on the Do More, and let's crack on. So I'm going to jump off this call so that Carol can not Carol, so that Fiona can close this call down and reopen the 9 o'clock call. But I hope that's been useful for everyone, and yeah, all good. Have a brilliant week, and let's go out and share this amazing opportunity. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone. Bye.